The name Donald Trump has long been synonymous with controversy, from the cutthroat world of real estate to the uncharted waters of reality television and, finally, the turbulent landscape of U.S. politics. But as the 45th President of the United States, Trump took the concept of controversy to an entirely new level. Now, in the aftermath of his time in office, his legal entanglements continue to grip the nation. And perhaps the most pressing questions center on whether Trump will face criminal accountability for his actions before, during, and after his presidency. In a groundbreaking and somewhat unexpected development, Special Counsel Jack Smith and the Department of Justice, DOJ, have signaled that they may be winding down two of the most significant criminal cases against Trump. One case centers on the January 6th Capitol riot and Trump's alleged attempts to obstruct the certification of the 2020 election. The other case, no less critical, involves the mishandling of classified documents found in Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence and the broader implications for national security. This decision by the DOJ to potentially wind down its cases against Trump comes amid long-standing questions about the department's internal policies and ethical obligations. With Trump's influence once again looming over American politics and the possibility of a 2024 return to power, the choices Jack Smith and the DOJ make could fundamentally impact both the former president's future and the fabric of American democracy itself. The DOJ's choice, to wind down or press forward. The DOJ's potential decision to wind down the cases against Trump is rooted in a contentious Office of Legal Counsel, WLC, memo, which posits that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted. This memo has been an anchor for years, effectively shielding presidents from criminal prosecution while in office, regardless of the alleged crimes. The DOJ's adherence to this memo raises both legal and ethical dilemmas, as many argue it places presidents above the law, a notion contrary to the very principles of American democracy. According to reports, the DOJ, led by Special Counsel Jack Smith, may be inclined to avoid pushing these cases forward should Trump reclaim office. This decision, while legally justifiable within the DOJ's own framework, opens up a complex web of questions and potential consequences. The OLC memo, shielding presidents from prosecution? The OLC memo dates back decades, shaped by a vision of stability and the continuity of government. The memo asserts that prosecuting a sitting president could cripple the executive branch's functionality, potentially destabilizing the nation. However, it has become increasingly clear that this immunity, intended to protect the office of the president from legal chaos, also creates an imbalance in the scales of justice. Critics argue that the OLC memo effectively hands presidents a license to commit crimes with impunity while in office. This paradox becomes even more acute when the president in question is accused of actions that directly undermine democracy, as with Trump's alleged involvement in the January 6th insurrection and his cavalier handling of classified information. Why winding down now? In light of Trump's potential 2024 re-election, Jack Smith's decision to consider winding down these cases may appear strategic. The implications of allowing these prosecutions to stall could mean that Trump, if re-elected, would face no immediate consequences for his actions. Furthermore, if Trump's own DOJ later dismissed these cases, the statute of limitations could run out, effectively closing the door on accountability. For many, the DOJ's decision to wind down the cases now, rather than pressing forward in full force, signals a missed opportunity to hold Trump accountable. By pausing the cases instead of seeking an outright dismissal, however, Smith could be preparing to resume these prosecutions once Trump is out of office, thus preserving a path to justice. Legal and ethical implications of pausing or dismissing Trump's cases. The consequences of winding down Trump's cases are significant, both legally and ethically. Should the DOJ proceed with a pause rather than a full dismissal, it might mean they are simply respecting the OLC's guidelines without relinquishing their right to prosecute once Trump is no longer protected by the memo. However, this pause carries its own set of risks and rewards. 1. Statute of limitations and tolling the clock. A critical concern in pausing Trump's cases is the statute of limitations. Federal law mandates that criminal charges must be filed within a specific time frame, often 5 years. But if the DOJ doesn't act before the clock runs out, Trump could escape prosecution altogether. One possible safeguard for the DOJ is to invoke the principle of tolling, which essentially pauses the statute of limitations under certain circumstances. The DOJ might argue that if Trump becomes president again and dismisses the cases corruptly, this would amount to misconduct and prevent the statute from running out. This approach, though untested at such a high level, has precedent in lower courts where defendants evaded justice. 2. The ethical dilemma. Should the DOJ force Trump to act? Many legal analysts and commentators, including former prosecutors like Glenn Kirshner, argue that the DOJ should press forward and force Trump's hand. By winding down the cases, Jack Smith potentially relieves Trump of having to dismiss his own cases, a move that could have exposed him to accusations of corruption. If Trump were forced to dismiss the cases as president, it would further underline his willingness to subvert legal norms and avoid accountability. However, by winding down the cases, the DOJ may inadvertently provide Trump with a free pass to evade responsibility without having to actively dismiss the cases himself. Jack Smith's special counsel report, a final weapon? One of the DOJ's remaining options, should they wind down the criminal prosecutions, is the release of a special counsel report. Jack Smith could leverage this report to compile a comprehensive document detailing Trump's alleged misconduct, creating a historical record that cannot be erased by any subsequent DOJ or administration. What a special counsel report would mean for public accountability. Historically, special counsel reports have had a significant impact on public perception, as with the Mueller report. By releasing a full account of Trump's actions in the classified documents case and the January 6th investigation, Jack Smith could provide a narrative that informs both voters and historians about Trump's behavior. This record would stand, regardless of Trump's political future, as an indictment of his actions and could become a rallying point for his opponents and critics. Political implications: the road to 2024 and beyond. With the 2024 election drawing closer, the potential decision by the DOJ to wind down Trump's cases takes on an even more politically charged dimension. Trump has consistently positioned himself as a victim of political persecution, rallying his base by claiming that his opponents are weaponizing the DOJ against him. By pausing the cases, the DOJ could be seen as sidestepping a fight they may not win in the short term but preparing for a potential long game that continues once Trump leaves office. 1. Public reaction. A divided America. The American public is deeply divided, and the DOJ's actions are likely to spark fierce debate. For Trump supporters, the winding down of the cases may be seen as proof of his innocence or, alternatively, as a tactical retreat by a biased DOJ. For his opponents, however, this move may signal a lack of accountability and a failure of the justice system to hold powerful figures accountable. 2. Implications for future presidents and accountability. A decision not to prosecute Trump, even temporarily, sets a powerful precedent. If Trump can avoid prosecution by becoming president again, it sends a signal to future leaders that they, too, can act with impunity while in office. This raises questions about the nature of American democracy and the long-term consequences of shielding presidents from criminal prosecution. As Jack Smith and the DOJ consider winding down the federal criminal cases against Donald Trump, they face an unparalleled dilemma. The choice between pausing or dismissing these cases touches on the foundations of justice, accountability, and the rule of law in the United States. While some may argue that the DOJ is simply respecting long-standing policies, others view this as a capitulation that risks allowing Trump to escape responsibility. The stakes have never been higher. By winding down the cases, the DOJ may indeed be biding its time, hoping to resume prosecution after Trump leaves office. However, this path is fraught with uncertainties. particularly regarding the statute of limitations and the potential for Trump to dismiss the cases through a politically motivated attorney general. In the end, Jack Smith's choices will have lasting implications, not only for Trump but for the very concept of accountability in American politics. Will the DOJ press forward, forcing Trump to act openly and risk accusations of corruption? Or will they choose a more conservative approach, leaving Trump's fate in the hands of the American public and history itself? This saga is far from over, and as America watches with bated breath, one thing is clear: the future of democracy may well hang in the balance.